Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Bryn. So I know recently I've been doing a lot of CF updates. I had things going on with the possibility of getting a lung transplant, and then also I started Trikafta a week or two, or not even a week ago, and so I know that I've been doing a lot of updates on CF, and usually when I don't know what type of video to make, I just make one of those because my health is always fluctuating, but I've kind of been doing a lot of CF stuff, and I know a lot of you come here to see that, but I also have like other aspects of my life that are important and that influence me and my relationships and whatever, blah blah blah. And I know I've made a few videos about my gender identity and my sexuality and stuff like that, but I was thinking of doing like a full not a coming out video, because like I've been out, but just like how things have changed, more like since I've been on hormones, because I started hormone replacement therapy in July of 2016, and it's now almost December of 2019, so it's been almost like 3.5 years, and things have definitely changed a lot. I didn't start my channel back when I started hormones. I only started my channel, I think, about a year ago, and I didn't really like have many like incremental updates. I might have mentioned here and there how things have changed since I started, but I figured I'd kind of like get into it, and like at least from what I can remember from before, and also now it's interesting. I know I just started Trikafta, but even before that, I lowered my hours at work and I began taking my insulin, and both of those things helped me to begin getting healthy, and then I started this medication that also helps me to get healthy, and so I've been seeing myself gain weight, because for those of you who haven't seen my channel or whatever, CF makes it very hard for me to gain weight. I have CF, and I've been gaining weight, and so I've been seeing differences in my body that I didn't realize were there before. So, okay, I guess I'm just gonna get into it. So, for those of you who don't know, haven't seen any videos, I was assigned male at birth, and so when I was a teenager going through puberty, I got testosterone in my body, and that caused my voice to deepen a little bit. I've had facial hair, sort of. Not lots of permanent things. I never was a very bulky person, probably because of my CF. But yeah, the main things that I think happened to me was my sex drive appeared, because I didn't have one before puberty, just like most people don't. And my voice deepened a little bit, and I got facial hair. Those are probably like the three main things. So when I started hormones, they started me on a very low dose, and I think, I'm not sure if I'm still on a low dose or not, but basically my endocrinologist, my hormone doctor, was worried about doing things at a normal speed because of my CF, and she didn't know if there would be any like complications or whatever, which makes sense, even though like if you look at what CF does and what hormones do, like there shouldn't be any complications, but she was just playing it safe, which makes sense. So I forget what I started on. I want to say 2 milligrams of estradiol and maybe 25 milligrams of spironolactone. And if you don't know those terms, estradiol is estrogen, and spironolactone, a lot of the time it's used as blood pressure medication, but what it does is it blocks the testosterone in your body, or it makes your body flush it out instead of like absorbing it and whatever. So I remember the spironolactone was what she was more worried about, which sucks because that's the one that I care more about. So I remember within the first week or two, my tits hurt so bad. It was like literally like even just walking too fast, like if they would like jiggle like at all. And I didn't really even have tits because they hadn't grown yet. But like it just, oh my god, it hurt. And I remember like putting on a shirt, like it was just so cringy. Like every time, it just hurt so bad. But that was the very first thing that I noticed. And then I remember one thing that I definitely have noticed, which I really like, is I've been way more in tune with my emotions. I'm always a very an emotional. I've always been an emotional person. Ever since the time I was a little kid, but a lot of times when I was a kid and even a teenager and stuff, my emotions were very easily just translated into anger and frustration. And I think part of that was because I didn't understand communication. I just wasn't grown up in a very good communication kind of setting, whatever. And now I'm a lot better at communicating things. But also, I didn't understand my feelings. I knew that they were there. I knew that they made me feel very intense. But I didn't know why they were there. And I didn't know how to process that they were there. And then I also had a lot going on with specifically feelings of being trans or being into guys when I was being raised as a guy, like things like that were very like, there was a lot of like shame and guilt that was kind of brought upon me because of those things, and so that could easily turn to anger and stuff. But by the time that I had started hormones, I was feeling more accepting of myself and stuff like that. So I think just growing up kind of helped with that, but I think definitely the hormones kind of helped. They helped me understand my feelings better. They gave more of like a smooth balance or breeze. I don't know how to explain it, but I understood my emotions a lot better. I still understand my emotions a lot better. And that is one of my favorite things, because I've noticed like before I got good at actually remembering to take my hormones, sometimes I would like miss a few days, or because I have to take these pills every day, or I would run out and forget to go to the doctor, and I'd like miss like a week, and within like days I could feel myself getting really irritable, not feeling myself and all this stuff. And I think also the fact that I was taking these hormones and finally feeling comfortable with myself and in my skin definitely helped. Like, it's not the hormones that did it, it's the fact that now I feel like I'm matching my body more. That kind of calmed me down and made me feel more at peace. Another thing that I've noticed is my sex drive and my sexuality, which I have a video on that, like, that's kind of more talking about like boys versus girls, gay versus straight kind of thing, and that's not exactly what I'm talking about here, but so my sex drive, it's very, I'm gonna lump the two together. My sex drive and my sexuality are very different than they used to be. I remember being in high school, I was strictly only into guys. I didn't look at girls and like want to have sex with them. And it was very like physical. Like there was an emotional factor that I wanted to have, but like I could look at somebody and think that they were hot and be like, I want to fuck you. Or I want you to fuck me, or whatever. I would like us to fuck together. It was very like impulsive, almost like an impulsive sexuality. And now I've noticed, well, I don't want to say I'm only attracted to girls, but I'm way more attracted to girls than I am to guys. But I don't really look at anyone with that same impulse kind of sex drive of like, oh wow, this person's really hot, I want to have sex with them. There's a lot more emotion built up into it when I'm thinking about having sex with somebody, or I am having sex with somebody. I'm thinking more about how I'm feeling, like the like intimate feelings, or the emotional, or the all those kinds of feelings that certain sex acts would make me feel, or whatever, and the kind of like experience that I'm like feeling, instead of like, oh, I want them to touch me here because it gives me sensation. It's more like, I want them to touch me here because it's personal and makes my heart feel good, I guess. I know that's kind of maybe confusing, but I've talked to a lot of other trans people, and they definitely like understand that. And it might be kind of hard to understand if you're not trans. Like, to me it makes sense because I've experienced both sides of everything. But maybe you do understand it, I don't know. But yeah, so that has been a big change for me, and it's been not a bad change, but it's weird because I kind of really thought my sexuality was set in stone, and then here we go, it was not, and that's fine, things change. Yeah, so that's a big one. Most of what I've noticed with me has been more mental with the way that it's changed me. There are definitely physical changes. My acne, no, I didn't have a whole lot of acne, but like my skin's just a lot smoother now. And if I stop taking my hormones, I break out like down here. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that I did do a decent amount of treatments of laser hair removal, and I'm not sure the lady did it right, but it did, like, I don't know, this is kind of crusty, but, like, you can't really see much, but I do tweeze a lot of the time, but the hair that does come in is very thin, instead of, like, thick and dark. Like, there's some darker ones usually around the edges here, but it's not bad. I think I have a pimple coming in, so that's great. But yeah, and then I get some on my chin, and usually right in here. You can't even see it, it's not picking up on camera. But they're not very dark, so definitely, it's not that I grow less hair. Well, I mean, from the laser hair removal I do, but all over my body, I don't grow less hair, but the hair's thinner. So, like, even my leg hair, I used to shave my legs every day or two. Now I can go like 4 or 5 days, and it's more that I can feel it, but you can't even see it like after a week because it's a lot lighter and a lot thinner. But okay, back to my video. My face is definitely softer. Like I'll look at old pictures of me and I just look more square in the old pictures, and it doesn't change your bones, but it changes the way your fat is, and so, like, my cheeks are bigger, and I don't know exactly what it is. Oh, and one thing that I noticed, something that I've never heard somebody else say, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, but it's something that I noticed with me. Before hormones, it wasn't bags under my eyes, but it was like I had these creases where my eyeball was, like, I guess it was kind of sunken in more, and now I guess maybe it's because my cheeks fill out more, but I don't have those as much, although it kind of looks like I do right now, but I don't. And when I look at pictures of myself, it looks more smooth from my eyelid down instead of this, like, indent kind of thing. And I think that changed a lot. And I remember, it's really interesting, because I remember once I took art classes growing up at a studio by my house, and the woman that taught the art class, like, we always got to draw, like, whatever we wanted, and I can't remember if I think, yes, it was when I was dating my first boyfriend, and I was drawing a picture of the two of us, and it was based off, like, a selfie that we took, and so she's, like, looking at it and whatever, and, like, I got him to look like him, but I could not figure out how to make me look like me, and I remember my teacher said to kind of shade in underneath the eyes, and she was like, boys have deeper eye sockets than girls. And like, I didn't think anything of it because that was before I came out as trans, really knew anything about being trans. But then when I saw this in my own face after being on hormones and stuff, I was like, oh yeah. But it's like such a weird thing that like boys have deeper eye sockets than girls. What? But yeah, so that changed. I also now, I know I said it's been almost 3.5 years. My dose, I'm on 6 milligrams of estradiol and 100 milligrams of spironolactone. For a very long time, I was on 75 milligrams of spironolactone. And my doctor would not move me up because she was worried. And I'm like, okay, well, I've been on this dose. Can I just go up a little bit more? And like, if something crazy happens, like, we'll just stop. But I don't know. She was very particular. But she actually ended up leaving where the place that I go to and starting her own practice that's not too far away, but I had mixed feelings about her, and I heard some I don't want to get into it, but anyways, I have a new doctor, and the first time I saw him, he's like, oh, that's kind of a low dose, why don't we move you up to 100 and see how you like it, because one thing, this might be, I'm not really pleasantly looking forward to talking about this, but I will. When you're on a testosterone blocker, sometimes it can make it difficult. Well, I said, like, if you're blocking the testosterone, that sometimes your sex drive can go down, and that includes the hardness of your genitals. And, but it was frustrating. Definitely went down, but it wasn't gone. And it's not that I would have really random things, but sometimes it was like it would randomly do its thing that I did not want it to do. And now that I've moved up in my dosage, it really is just pretty stable and doesn't, it's just there, like but it doesn't flare up or whatever. So I like that better, as I get really bad dysphoria over my bottom area. I don't think there's a lot. I don't think there's much of anything else. Well, did I mention? Well, okay, so I'm wearing a sports bra. And like, okay, so like it is pretty flat, but like if you, I don't know. It's definitely bigger than it used to be. Like, probably, like, I don't wear regular bras. I either don't wear anything, or now I'm able to wear sports bras now that I'm on Trikafta and I'm not coughing all the time. But I assume I'd probably be like a solid A cup, like, because for a little while, for a long time, if you looked at me like shirtless, barely even tell that I had boobs, but now it's like they're definitely there. And part of that is that I'm gaining weight and being healthier, but I also think that it's that they blocked the testosterone. I don't know, but yeah, I don't have a lot more to say, so I guess that's everything. Oh, and actually, no, I do have one thing to say. I said about my voice. It definitely, like, I make it this high. Now it comes natural. I don't think about it. But, like, when I was a teenager, it was definitely lower. And I just kind of practiced and moved it up a little bit. But I didn't want a super high voice. So, yeah, if you have gone through puberty with testosterone, in order to make your voice higher, you have to practice. And I guess there's some surgeries where they can do it, but not really. Like, it's, I guess, a sketchy surgery or whatever. So the best choice is to practice. But I used to have a pretty deep voice. So now it kind of depends who you ask. Some people are like, oh, it sounds androgynous. Some people are like, it sounds like a girl's voice. Some people are like, sounds like a man's voice. I don't give a fuck, whatever. So, but yeah, that's my changes on hormones in the past 3.5 years. So, yeah, okay. I'm all done.